Guys, I'm going to be light on the jokes today. We all know I'm PG, we all know I'm very woke, but what's happening in microcaps right now, and if Bitcoin keeps moving like it's going to move, they're just going to keep pumping. And there's so much room here to actually make a lot of money if you know somewhat what you're looking at and you avoid the hype and FOMO that has happened already on certain coins. Look, I'll tell you a joke real quick. Why can't you trust stairs? Because they're always up to something. But now the jokes are in, let's talk about this. Because if you're somewhat new here, you're going to get caught up in a lot of messes. So obviously right here, you can look at Cardano and everybody and their dog. And if you're new to this, you're probably looking at Cardano pumping. You're probably looking at the things that have made the big sexy stories right now, like Solana, like Luna. This is such a big mistake in this market right now. And if you know how to look at what's the trends, and if you know how to look at the trends of what's going to happen, assuming Bitcoin keeps where it is, okay? If we see Bitcoin tank back down, everything I'm saying right here is off the table, okay? It's all based on Bitcoin. This is the thing that gives everything the breathing room. But I want to give you a few tactics I've used in microcaps to make, well, just very, very, very good gains the last few weeks. So the first thing you need to understand, guys, that I've talked about a lot on this channel is if you look at the big coins, their ecosystems always pump harder, all right? So for example, Cardano right here, massive pumps doing really, really well. But if we go look at, for example, C3, which is the oracle on this, if we go look at the pumps on this, we went from $1.30 to, we're cruising on up to $4 right now. Now, am I telling you to buy this right now? Absolutely not. This is a big old pump right here. All right, there's a lot of people in sell pressure right here. But you're seeing we're looking at almost a 300% pump from about the same time frame as Cardano right here, which is about a 2x pump. And so what I wanted to share with you guys first off that's worked really, really well for me is you want to, when you're looking at these microcaps, you need to start thinking like this. When something else is pumping, you need to think, where are people going to get their nut next in crypto? Because what people do when they make profits in crypto, for example, Cardano has its updates coming where it's going to have smart contracts, is people are going to start leaving Cardano to go and get their nuts somewhere else. Because again, this is a speculative market. They're going to say, what's going to pump next and what can I ride up again? Am I saying bad things about Cardano or whatnot? No, I'm not saying that right now. But the obvious places where they were going to move to next was DOT and Polygon. And what you need to do when you're looking at the marketplace is say, what hasn't pumped yet? What is still at dumpster prices? Because people are going to come back to these things regardless if they're a good project or not, based on the last prices. So what you then do is you look at the things that haven't returned to their old prices because they're probably going to fill those gaps. So if we go look at Polygon, for example, right here, it still has this big gap between its all-time high. Okay, we're probably not going to see Solana or ADA do another 2-3x right here. We could, but the chances of, before that happens, us seeing money go and revisit all these other coins that have not completely pumped, I feel it's much higher. And so what you then do is you go and find these coins that haven't pumped yet, and the first thing you do is look at their ecosystem. So for example, what worked really well is when Solana and ADA and everything was pumping, I said, okay, what's probably going to pump next? It's probably going to be DOT because its old high was $50. It's nowhere even near that right now. And so what's going to happen as well, the coins that are very, very relevant to it that are small are probably going to pump as well. So you guys might have seen on Twitter, I said, look, it's probably a good time to look at PDEX back here at $10, $8. We hit $26 today. Am I telling you to buy PDEX right now? No, I'm telling you, look at the thought process that allowed me to get this really good trade right here. The same exact thing happened in Radium, for example, okay? You can see on Twitter, I thought Solana was going to pump next, okay? And so what I did instead of investing in Solana is I invested in Radium, all right? So Radium went all the way up to $8 up here, and then it kind of fizzled out. Because when things go and hit their all-time highs, for example, Solana went and hit its all-time high, it's probably not going to pump super hard after that. It could, but more often than not, it's just going to kind of diddle-daddle around before its next pump if Bitcoin doesn't take a big old cosmic poo at this point. So I jumped out of Radium and in the PDEX, and this was a great nearly 3x trade into another nearly 3x trade. And again, that's not using TA. That's not looking at some complex thing. It's like, all right, what hasn't pumped yet? And what's going to return to its old price, and what's the narrative going to be? And so that's the first thing I've been looking at, guys. It's been working really well for me. Look around the smart contract systems. Look at the coins that haven't pumped, and then look at the ecosystems underneath them that are still in dumpster level prices. If you look PDEX right here, it was still in the dumpster for the longest time right here. When its old price was $32, with Bitcoin pumping super hard in this time frame. There's no reason DOT's not going to go back to its all-time high if Bitcoin keeps allowing it. And so, of course, obvious gap right here from here to here. There's just a huge obvious gap. Now, the next thing I want to show you is you need to look at trends and then look at what products in those trends are at dumpster level prices now. So, for example, games and NFTs have been super hot. And that's 90% of what I'm focused on right here. Now, a really good example of something that was just in a easy buy position right here was Cetify. Okay, and so this is already pumped enough that I don't think I can pump it anymore with the video. So I'm happy to mention it now. But you need to look at the thought process right here, because if we go and look at what happened in May, we took this massive nuclear poo. Okay? And no one was talking about this on crypto Twitter. No one was talking about this on YouTube. No one was doing any of that. And so what I did is I said gaming is going to be super hot, because we can look at this trend right here with Axie. Again, Axie set the tone that we're actually going to start seeing games start to take over because they have actual use case and adoption. All right. And so knowing this, I browsed around games endlessly and started digging around Twitter and the comment sections in Twitter and what was going on. Again, I can see it's at its dumpster price right here when gaming is taking off. There's no reason for a launch pad for gaming that's going to be launching hot games to be at a dumpster level price. So I got in there, and that was a giant X so far. I called this on Twitter at 85 cents. And while it's experienced a little bit of a dip right now, I don't really care because they have an endless record of game. And while it's taking a little dip right now, I don't really care because they have an endless Congo line of really great games releasing on the platform, and games are going to take over. I believe the Star Atlas IDO right now is about to go nuclear. It's going to set the tone that gaming IDOs are going to go nuclear. This place is giving all the gaming IDOs, and there's reason to hold it so you can get in the gaming IDOs. It's too logical. I'm not using TA to do this. I'm just looking at what people are going to think. And this has been a way better investing strategy for me than trying to go and read a bunch of charts, because I can't do that. But I can think, what are people going to think? Well, how are people going to move? Let's invest in that. And many other games. And so what else am I saying right now? NFTs and games are going to continue to be hot no matter what. And I'm going to tell you right now, what I do all day right now is find games like this. Okay? So I'm not going to link this one right here, but what I try and do is my strategy in games right now is I find games that have a working product, actual users, and people using it that are still on dumpster level prices. So for example, this one coin right here, I'm not going to name it because it will pump too hard, was sitting at dumpster level prices right here. Just silly dumpster level prices, despite having a working product and all sorts of good stuff coming out, and then pow, popped up right here. So the other tip I'm going to give you is look at those trends in NFTs and gaming right now. For example, here's a coin. I'm not going to mention its microcap is too low. Again, it was doing pretty well up here, and then May happened. And then what happened is it was sitting at dumpster level prices despite having a working product, despite existing, despite having players, despite having a working ecosystem. That's silly. There's no reason for these to be at that type of price when we have games that don't even have a gameplay screenshot at $50 million market caps. Easy win. And so what you need to do is you've got to get off Twitter, you got to get off YouTube, and you got to start actually going and looking what people are talking about behind the scenes by joining Discords and reading tweet threads. And then just looking at projects. For example, this project right here was sitting at 2 cents for the longest time. And then boom, 8x right here. This is an NFT project right here. I believe it's going to be like the OpenSea of Asia. I'm not going to mention the project right here. But again, there's so many that are just floating around. And so what everybody's doing is they're looking for projects that are already doing this. This is where you're going to be looking if you're paying attention to crypto Twitter. Find the ones that are at the rock bottom prices that no one is talking about. Because if they have users, they have an actual use case, they have an actual product, and they're tied to the trends, as soon as they get any type of discovery, they're going to pop off, especially if they're at a $5 to $20 million market cap. Again, I'm going to give you one other tip right here that worked phenomenally well with me. So here's one that I recently invested in. And what I did is I watched the news. Okay, and so you want to watch what businesses are, what big well-known businesses are doing certain things. So I noticed that OnlyFans was banning all their adult content. Okay, and so what I did is I found this coin right here, which is like an OnlyFans of crypto. I'm like, easy. Girls are going to start transitioning to this instead of OnlyFans. Started getting in on that. People then started talking about this, and I found out about this by looking at people complaining about OnlyFans on Twitter, and them complaining about them moving the NFTs and whatnot. Pick this one up. I picked this one up, and it's doing really, really well. And you can see if you were able to actually pick this, OnlyFans released this news days ago. when it was sitting at $1. Now it's at almost $7. Now it's at almost $8. This is how you find the micro caps that are going to pump, guys. You need to look outside the normal sources and look at the narrative that's actually going on in the real world. Gaming and NFTs are taking over. Period. If you can find games that are at their dumpster level prices still, and there's so many games out there that have a working product. For example, here's one right here that used to be much, much higher that I recently invested in, and it's going nuts right now because that has a working product and actual players using it. There's so many games that are still sitting at these prices before. If we see Bitcoin pump again, the market's going to go insane. Okay, we're at that precipice where we're deciding between a dead cat and if we're not. And so those are the 3 places you can make a lot of killings in. 1, the miner ecosystems. I'm always going to say it over and over again. 2, find game and NFT projects. They're just going to be hot because this is where actual use cases are happening in crypto. People are actually adopting and using these things. Find them and find the ones that are still at dumpster prices. If they're good projects, aka they have a working product, they have a team, they're doing something. They're going to get picked back up. They just simply are. And then 3, look at the news and then find related cryptos to the news. For example, OnlyFans was tanking their business and pushing girls to other places. I found the place they're probably going to get pushed to, or something similar to that. That narrative is going to pump those coins. Those are 3 places that people aren't usually using to pick their microcaps. They usually look at what's trending on Twitter or some crap like that. Those are the research tactics I've used. They've gotten me consistent 2 to 4x's in the past 2 weeks. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to get this video out really quickly to tell you what I'm doing. That's what's been working very, very well for me. If you want to see stuff I'm looking at, I never outright say it on Twitter, but I will suddenly hint at things that I'm doing. Follow me at CSS Becker. I don't really have anything else to say. I just wanted to get you guys this video before it's too late, because I think we're going to see a little bit of a pullback and we're going to see another pump. And if you can get into these projects when we get that little pullback, it's going to be juicy. That's what I'm planning to do. So that being said, I got nothing more to say. I'll catch you next video.